the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors. Summer love, remember when we were getting nowhere fast.
I broke it down and basically I need to edit.
All right, so hopefully this is working. For some reason, my camera isn't showing me my audio levels, so I am fingers crossed over here praying because this is like the fourth time I've tried to film this intro. Hi, my name is Charlie. I'm a writer. I'm currently working on a dark fantasy project that I'm calling Project Reaper. It's essentially about a girl who lives in a world where they trade power for goods. She is the only one without power until one day she witnesses her boss doing something unforgivable, and when she wakes up, she's in his body. And she's trying to figure out, obviously, like how the heck that happened. And she goes on a journey to fix it. This week, I figured I would start a new series where I try to find the best writing routine, but really it's just me trying to find the best routine in general, but with a heavy focus on writing, you know what I mean? So today I'm going to be showing you my baseline. This is kind of like what I do on a regular basis, or what I would like to be doing on a regular basis if I could like hold it all together. And then in the next video, I'm going to be pretending like I'm a full-time author, trying to find the best writing routine for myself. And so obviously I'm not a full-time writer. I do work a 9 to 5. And besides myself, I also have to take care of my dog and this YouTube channel and writing. And so I'll also be including little bits of content creation as well, because it is just another part of my life. So far today, I've written around 300 words, and I think I'm gonna try to aim for around 2,000 for the day, just because I'm really behind in my draft. I'm also kind of in this like weird mood with my project at the moment. Like, I'm still loving it, I'm still having a great time, but I'm finding that some chapters have been more difficult for me to write than others, and I'm trying to nail down the cause of that. So hoping that maybe this week I can figure out what's causing that to happen. Not that every single chapter should be easy to write, but like, I don't know if it should be that hard, if that makes sense. I'm gonna be trying to figure out what the cause of that problem is, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this intro is good enough, because I'm not filming it a 5th time. Out of all of the takes, this will just have to be the best.
Perfect bodies in the shallow blue, drifting faster than we should. Golden hour paints a dreamlike view. Even dreams start fading too. I am leaving, tell me what to do. I can feel.
Hey besties, I wanted to take a second before I started my live stream to kind of check in with you guys a little bit. It is currently Wednesday, and so far today I haven't written jack. I went to bed a little bit later than I wanted to last night, but still a reasonable time. That being said, I am trying to give myself like a full solid 7 hours of sleep every night. And give me just a second, I'm like squatting right now, so I'm just gonna adjust. Here's one thing that I actually wanted to talk to you guys about. So at my job, I don't have a lot of control over the times that I work, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 kind of thing. But I have a lot of control over what happens within those time periods. So what I've been trying to do is utilizing my off time to write. Yesterday, I did a really good job of that, and I actually ended up writing around 1,800 something words. I didn't do that today. To be honest with you, I just wasn't really feeling it. I feel like we've kind of all had those days. Work was kind of a drag, and I felt like if I needed to switch my brain to creative mode, I was gonna have to take a bit of time to just kind of recharge my batteries, I guess, and to like give my brain a break from thinking. I feel like we all just need that dead space sometimes where we're just like zoning out or just doing something mindless a little bit. I really needed that today. I had a lot of interviews and it just like wore me out. So I took a little bit of time because I do have a live stream in about 30 minutes, and I just wanted to make sure that by the time that live stream came around that I was like alive enough to not only talk to the people people who are going to show up at the live stream, but also just like to expend that mental energy that I need to write. I find a lot of the time when I haven't been giving myself that time to just kind of like reset, I struggle to get back into the creative zone. But I also have the same problem when I give myself too much time to reset, if that makes sense, because then I have a hard time turning it back on. And this kind of like on theme for this video and this series, because I am really just trying to find a good balance of everything and just kind of like make it all work and flow together instead of like one part of my life getting in the way of the other. A part of this is because I have a tendency to sort of like internalize my frustrations, and I did mention this or touch on this in the previous video, but when that happens, it can sometimes take me a really long time to not only express that in a healthy way, but it can also lead to me like getting really frustrated and annoyed, and then that translates into other parts of my life. So like if I'm frustrated and annoyed with work, then when I try to write, it's like my brain just doesn't want to let go of that frustration that I had at work, and I just can't like separate the two things. This is just like another reason why I've been trying to find balance, and just I feel like it's just so important especially for me, and maybe you can relate to this, to just like have like a well-rounded day and routine, so that like those things that are frustrating and those things that get annoying and infuriating aren't dwelling on you so much when you go to do the things that you actually enjoy. You know, when I'm frustrated, I don't really get enjoyment out of writing, because then I'm just more frustrated. Like writing is hard enough without adding all of those like external things into the mix. Yeah, basically that's just like how I've been feeling about writing lately, and like life in general. I've just been like trying really hard not to let the frustrations get to me, letting myself like kind of release those frustrations in a healthy way so that I'm not carrying it over into my project. As far as where the project is at, I feel like I'm in a really good place with it. I am still struggling a little bit with some of the chapters. I haven't had an opportunity really to kind of look back on those, but I think maybe next time I come across it, I'm going to try to work it out, what could be the cause of that problem. I just kind of wanted to check in with you guys and update you on what's going on. I will see you guys in the live stream, and we can check in maybe in a little bit.
Think you'd look for me. Would it kill you just to make a move? Nothing good comes for free. I am leaving. Tell me what to do. I can feel it.
Hi friends, welcome to Thursday. Oh my goodness, has it ever been one of those days? I know that you know what I'm talking about. Like, I've had one of those days where everything is just subpar and I'm just struggling. I did everything that I meant to do. I woke up this morning, I got ready, I got dressed, I went outside, I journaled. I even tried to write a little bit this morning before work. And then I started working, and I had a really bad day. And honestly, the thought of writing right now feels enormous to me. And I often feel like this. And this is kind of what I was talking about yesterday. Like, sometimes we let our feelings impact the way that we show up for our projects. And I want to show up for you guys and for my writing as the best possible version of myself as often as I possibly can. And I don't know how to do that right now. I think I might just take my dog for a walk and maybe just try to get some fresh air, and hopefully I can just kind of recenter myself, because I know sometimes when we get into these situations where things are kind of weighing on us a little bit, the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to just kind of like take a moment and find some peace. One positive thing I could say about today so far, though, is that the weather is beautiful. It's like 60 degrees here, and the sun was out all day. And unfortunately, I was sitting at my desk for all of that, but I have these nice windows that, you know, let the sun in a south-facing apartment. So I got sun pretty much most of the day. So that was at least one little positive thing that happened today. And even though I'm not feeling my best, I'm still trying to think of ways that I can improve my mood so that I can show up for you guys and my project the best way that I can. And hopefully when I come back, I will feel a little bit better. I can give you an update on all of the progress that I made, because I have made a lot of progress, and I figured out that problem with the chapters that I was having that I mentioned earlier in the vlog. So if you are interested in hearing that, then stick around. But for now, enjoy some B-roll, and I will be back with you shortly.
I'm sorry I let you down. I said some things that I never should have said, and I know you're hurting.
Hey besties, it's a little bit later in the day. I changed into a sweatshirt because I wanted to be comfortable after my walk. I needed to get out of my everyday clothes, so I threw on some pajama pants and this hoodie just so that I could feel all cozy and warm. During the walk, I was just kind of reflecting on my day, thinking through some of the things, and just sort of letting myself release the negative feelings and the frustration and everything that I had from work. And it led me to think about the problems that I've been having in my manuscript. Yesterday, I didn't provide you an update, because by the time I was ready to, it was already just so late. I ended up going to sleep. And I also kind of wanted to think on it a little bit, because sometimes when I work out a problem, I can't always nail down what the issue was that I've worked out, if that makes sense. So yesterday during the live stream, I was sort of running into a similar problem where the words that I was putting down on the page just were not working, or it felt like it wasn't working. I felt like every single word that I was writing, it just felt strained. And I don't know, it could have been a multitude of reasons in the moment, brain fog, just being tired. But I think a large part of the problem was not like the physical things happening, but how I was approaching the chapter. In the moment, I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of floundering almost. Like I would write a sentence, delete it, it didn't sound right, write it again, didn't sound right. None of the words that I was writing just were like hitting the way that I wanted them to. And then because I was having such a hard time, I realized part of the reason why was because I wasn't connecting with the character voice. So if you watched my last vlog, I told you about how I felt like I was starting to resonate with Delaney a little bit more. And I feel like sometimes when I'm writing, I do this thing where I sort of detach myself from my project. And I like to have all of the words that are being put on the page come from almost like this stream of consciousness. I feel like that's the pantser in me. I'm not exactly sure why I do that, but part of the problem with that is that I can't always rely on that. And I feel like that happens most often when I'm feeling inspired. So when I'm not feeling inspired, I sort of have this almost like detachment from my characters, from my projects. And what it ended up being was that while I am detaching from my project, while I'm in this like weird mindset, I sort of start to focus more on mechanics instead of actually what my character is feeling and like their thoughts and emotions. And I start focusing almost solely on like, oh, they sit in this chair, they slump back, these kinds of things, instead of like the interiority of my characters. And for me, that's kind of where I start to struggle, because sometimes I can't really figure out how to get back into that headspace where I'm really letting all of Delaney's feelings out onto the page, or letting my feelings out onto the page. I think one of the challenges of being a writer is being able to do that, being able to place yourself on the page even when it's hard to do that. And so basically last night I was just trying to figure out how I could get back there. How do I open myself up enough to allow Delaney back into my head? What I ended up doing was I just reread a couple of passages where Delaney's voice really shone in the scene, and the words where I felt her voice was the strongest. And that really helped to sort of almost like jumpstart me into writing the scenes that I wrote last night. So it led me to being able to finish chapter 14. And then I started on chapter 15, and I got about halfway through the outline of chapter 15 before I decided to call it a night. So overall, the last 3 days of writing, I was able to write almost 3,000 words. It was 2,998 to be exact. Today, because I was struggling, I sort of started a little bit late and I only ended up writing around 400 words. It was just under 400 words. And I'm okay with that because sometimes that's just how it is. I feel like another thing that I kind of realized this week was that sometimes when you're in a frustrated place or an emotional place, maybe you're just feeling a little bit down, whatever it is, the best thing that you can do is try to reset yourself and just show up the best way possible. That walk really helped to kind of clear my head and allow me to kind of reflect on the day and just release it. So even though I did kind of meander a little bit and it took me a while to sort of get started, I am still really proud of the fact that I was able to write almost 400 words today, especially considering the fact that I really didn't feel like doing it at all after the day that I had. I'm tired. I've had brain fog like all day. I feel like just vegging out in front of the TV and just like not thinking and churning it off. My word count could have been better, but I'm not going to beat myself up for that because at least I tried. I think that really what I just needed was to reconnect with my character's voice. And I think that it'll be easier for me to revise these chapters now that I know that that is part of my problem, that I'm sort of disengaging from my characters as I go on. That's a couple of days of my life as a writer with a full-time job. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next video, we're going to be pretending to be full-time authors, and that should be a fun one. I've got some really cute things planned, so hopefully you can join us for that. In the meantime, why don't you leave a lantern emoji in the comments? Yeah, let me know how you reconnect with your characters when you're feeling a little bit disconnected, or how you decompress after a stressful day. Tell me in the comments. If you liked today's video, please give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe if you're new here. As always, I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!